The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, parents. What a wonderful opportunity to have this conversation with you tonight, this webinar. Thank you for attending this webinar, and I hope that you'll find it informative and give an idea of where we are today and what is going to happen going forward. I am just going to move over to my screen and open my PowerPoint presentation. And may I ask you to please close your eyes for this prayer. Dear God, thank you for being the Father who craves to show us love and goodness. Please help us to recognize it, accept it, and embrace it. May we look to you first for comfort and protection. We want to live in the shadow of your wing. When life is hard and we don't know what to do, help us to remember that you are with us and that we are never alone. Today, we choose to walk and live under your protection, the Most High. In Jesus' name, Amen. This is our fourth parent evening this week, and I would like to, and of course now tonight's high school. Monday night was ECD, Tuesday night was the foundation phase, last night was senior primary, and tonight high school. And I hope that you as high school parents will have a clear idea of what's happening going forward. I also think tonight, I don't know if you've listened to the Minister of Basic Education's speech tonight, and she's given us some idea of what's going to happen going forward. So currently, I feel that there's light in the end of the tunnel, but she still needs to give us a couple of clarity on a couple of things also going forward. So we as a school have decided to go through this process with 8 stages. And you would have noticed this was sent in a letter on Sunday night to you as parents. And we've said there's 8 stages. This was done with the senior management team and the board of governors. And we developed this eight stages, which I hope will make for you it clearer for you as parents at home where we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it, and what's happening behind the scenes. So stage 1 and stage 2, we said that's high alert. Stage 3 and 4 is elevated alert. Stage 5 and 6, we said is guarded alert. And stage 7 and 8, low alert. And I'm going to go and I will now discuss each stage separately. So stage 1, this is the stage we are currently in. And this is a stage where we started our online learning on the 15th of April. And we also said that we'll continue offering on our online learning until at least August 2020. We will prolong this process, the online learning process, if we need to. We are also currently waiting for the President Ramaphosa to give us permission to reopen for face-to-face learning. And we've heard the Minister of Basic Education that she now said that we will she's now made certain dates available or known. But I just after a speech, I had a quick senior management meeting where I just wanted to quickly realign my team before I speak to you as parents. And after this, I will also send out communication to all staff. But what is clear is that we as a school are not going to move from stage 1 to stage 2 or 3 until those dates have been gazetted. We do know that these dates have been circulated, and there's a lot of speculation around it. And although the minister announced it tonight, she said she is going to gazette it. And as she said, gazette is law. So we as a school will only move our stage 1 through to stage 4 only once I've seen those dates in the gazette. So stage 2, with President Ramaphosa's permission, she now made that announcement tonight. And as I said in my first bullet here, the Minister of Basic Education would provide schools with clear guidance on how they should reopen when the President has given us permission to do so. So tonight she's given us dates, but she also haven't told us yet exactly which grades and when other grades will return. What we're currently hearing is that she's referring to grade 12 and to grade 7 that will come back in the first week. We will, as an independent school, will only be allowed to start when the government schools start. So even if these dates are gazetted, there is no way that we as independent schools will be allowed to start earlier than that. So that means that we will continue with our online learning for the month of May as we are doing. And I will talk about that a little bit later. The third bullet, you'll see that we are part of the South African Independent Schools Association. And that means that we take guidance from ISASA. They will tonight or tomorrow morning give us as independent schools a clearer idea of what we should do, because what they do is they will take her guidelines, as she said, her whole speech will now be made available, and ISASA will now interpret what she said, and then we'll see how it applies to us as independent schools. One thing that is clear is that it seems to us is that we as independent schools will not have to follow the phase-in process that the government schools is going to follow. So what do I mean by that? Is that if they, for example, say on the 1st of June, grade 12 and grade 7 must come back, and only the following week they can only bring back grade 11 and 6 and etc. It seems to us as independent schools, we will be allowed to follow a different process because we have less numbers on campus or in the classrooms as well. So where government schools are sitting with between 40 and 50 kids in a class, we're sitting between 20 and 25 kids in a class. So our spatial distancing are already much easier than that we'll have at government schools. So we are hoping that we as a school will still have a staggered start, and we will, but where the government will wait for every week to bring in new grades, we will probably start every day bringing different grades in. That will just give us the way to understand how we need to go through things in the morning, and I'll allude to that a little bit later, and then you understand why at the beginning we'll also just follow a staggered start, but we will not probably follow a weekly start, we will follow a daily start. But I'll explain that a little bit later. So stage 4 is once we have more clarity on the way forward, we will then communicate with you in terms of the exact date we'll start, which grades will be allowed to return to school first, and how we'll gradually phase in the other grades. And that's what I just alluded to. But we first also just want to see, are we allowed to follow different way or different approach than the government schools? But as I've been involved in many ISASA online meetings the last 2 weeks, and it seems like the Director General of ISASA has indicated that we as schools will be able to follow a different process. But all of this, we will communicate to you sometime this weekend. I will not keep you in suspense until Monday. We will give you clear guidance of where we are and going forward this weekend still. Even if I say to you, we are waiting for 1 or 2 more things to be cleared up for us, I will communicate to you as parents. Then also, again, as I now said, this process is strictly prescribed by the President and is advised by ISASA. So if we get to stage 4 now, it seems like these dates are available and we can now communicate that to you. If those dates are gazetted, then it means we've gone to stage 4, and then we'll communicate to you. After that, we'll move then to stage 5. And it seems like after the minister's speech tonight, that this might be now the 1st of June. So St. Patrick's CBC will then reopen its doors for face-to-face learning for the grades approved by the Minister of Basic Education and as advised by ISASA. And I want to reiterate again, it seems like we as independent schools will be able to follow a different phase-in process than what the government schools will be allowed to do. Part of stage 5, online learning and face-to-face classes will run concurrently. All sports and cultural events or gatherings and other events that create crowded conditions will not take place. Assemblies will be conducted online. So, for example, Mr. Groma will then sit in his office, and he will run an assembly online because we have televisions in every classroom. So he will be able, just like I'm doing tonight, where I'm live and you can watch me, the online assembly will take place. That also means that the pupils that have decided not to come back to school but prefer online learning will also be able to tune into that webinar or log into that webinar. Why online learning and face-to-face together? We are aware that some parents are privileged and not mom and dad both are working. So we do know that some of you in that boat would prefer rather to keep your kids at home and don't send them to school, and they will continue online learning. But we also know in many instances, mom and dad is working, there's nobody else to look after your child, and they must come to school. We will also do a survey about that, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Aftercare will reopen for the relevant grades. So if you've missed last night and you have kids in the primary school, aftercare will open at this stage. Remember, there's no aftercare in the high school. Physical education will start with a program that supports spatial distancing, and the physical education lessons for home-based pupils will still be published electronically. From stage 5, we will make it known when we move to stage 6. And so at stage 6, St. Patrick's CBC will gradually allow the grades that are not back at school yet to return to school. And that's what I've been talking about the whole time. So if we are now allowed to start on the 1st of June, we will tell you which grade will return on the 1st of June. And then we'll tell you which grade will return on the 2nd of June, 3rd of June, 4th of June, 5th of June, until we have the whole school back. Again, this will take place as and when approved by the Minister of Education, as basic education, and as advised by SASSA. Online learning and face-to-face classes will continue to run concurrently. All sports and cultural events and other events at great crowded conditions will not take place. Stage 7, this stage will only apply once the epidemic is classified as a non-risk. This stage will fall in line with phase 1 of the President's 5-phase coronavirus plan as announced last week, Thursday, the 23rd of April. St. Patrick's CBC will then end online teaching at this stage. Sports and cultural events and other events that are deemed safe by myself and in line with the President and President orders will then once again be allowed at school. And then the last stage, this is when the epidemic is officially over. And at this stage, all sport and cultural and other events that were not able to commence in stage 7 will then start at this stage. And this is then when we will return to normal, whatever normal will be at that stage. I hope those stages make it very clear. So, and I've just to explain again that we are currently still at stage 1 until those dates have been gazetted. So reopening following the national lockdown, what will happen at school? First of all, here's the proposed dates that I've now mentioned tonight. And as she mentioned tonight, she said that office-based office-based staff will return. That's for the DBE staff. 11th of May, school management teams will return. 18th of May, teachers will return to school, and the 1st of June, school starts for specific grades. So these are the dates that she announced tonight, and these are the dates that we will wait to be gazetted. Again, we will take advice from ISASA if we really have to follow this opening process for staff and for teachers, or can we as independent schools do it a bit differently? Holidays, term dates, and etc. I will talk about a little bit later. So from a sanitizing point of view, all persons wanting to gain access to any facility of St. Patrick's CBC will be required to sanitize their hands using an alcohol-based liquid provided by St. Patrick's CBC. And that we all know it's a 70% based alcohol-based liquid that we must use. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I'm having a meeting with a provider, service provider, that you, for example, lock your bottle into a stand and you tap your foot on the stand, and then it sprays the liquid into your hand. So that means that nobody is touching the bottle, which also will help to keep that clean. Also, what we are looking at currently is to have sanitizing tunnels at strategic places. So every pupil that arrives in the morning will have to go through a sanitizing tunnel before they can gain access to the school. Pupils and staff will be required to sanitize their hands upon entry and exit of all classroom and venues, again using this tool, I don't know the better word for it, where you, as I said, The bottle is hooked into the stand and you tap with your foot on the pedal and it sprays the liquid into your hands. Educational sporting equipment will be cleaned with alcohol-based cleaning materials throughout the day. In actual fact, the classrooms will be sanitized on an hourly basis. That means from doorknobs, anything that you touch, from doorknobs to desks to anything will be sanitized on an hourly basis. Body temperature analysis will be taken at the beginning of when you arrive as well. So compulsory body temperature analysis will be conducted at all entry points to facilities of St. Patrick's CBC. Using no-touch thermometers will be used, and they'll arrive tomorrow. So as a school, we've ordered 4 thermometers, no-touch thermometers. They are 2,000 Rand a piece, so it's 8,000 Rand just for 4 thermometers. And then a parent also sponsored us another 2. So we will now have 6 thermometers that's available in the morning. We might have to purchase 1 or 2 more. We are currently going through the process to see if we need more or not. Persons with body temperature of 38 degrees or above will not be granted access to any facility of St. Patrick's CBC. This will be confirmed once we have received more clarity from ISASA. But it sounds like that this will be a full requirement to be able to get in school. The only clarity we want to get from them is what must the body temperature be before we deny your child access to school. Standard precautions of infection control. General high standards of cleanliness will be observed at all times. Staff will ensure pupils regularly wash their hands using liquid soap dispensers and hand drying facilities of a disposable nature, and that's of course our paper towels that will be disposed into closed bins, and those will be available in all bathrooms, and also in the classrooms when they sanitize their hands there will be paper towels that they can use to dry their hands if they want to, and that will also go into closed bins. Protection and control. Fabric face masks will be compulsory for all persons on campus. The school will supply all pupils with 1 mask free of charge. You may buy for yourselves as well as additional masks for your children. So anybody that wants to gain access to our property will have to wear a fabric face mask. The cost of the mask is 30 Rand for the pupils. We're giving them the first mask, but we do recommend that you have 2 or more masks, and then the additional mask will cost 30 Rand per additional mask, and that will be for sale at the uniform shop. I am getting questions about stock. We have ordered 3,000, so when we start on the 1st of June, all 3,000 masks will be on campus, and also we will limit the amount of masks parents can buy at a time, so that we make sure everybody will have masks. And then also, if we have to reorder, we will only have to wait 5 days. So we will make sure that we continuously have stock of masks. There is a picture of the mask or the material and how it will look like. It's a triple layered, breathable, soft fabric for comfortable fit. It's elasticized straps to fit all head sizes, and it's easy to wear for younger pupils. It is also branded to show our pride in St. Patrick's CBC and our aim to be a positive change in the world. The question I'm receiving is that embroidered? No, the logo and the wording are all printed onto the mask, so it's not weakening the material, it's not scratching you, and it's also doesn't make it more, because it's now less dense where it might have been embroidered, that will create a risk factor. The materials all over, they're exactly the same, so there's no risk. It stays 3 layers everywhere. And you can also see the wording that we're putting on the mask: be the change you want to see in the world. And I think that is a family, that is our requirement, is to be the change that we want to see in the world. Social distancing. Social distancing will be required. Desks will be placed 1 meter apart. We are looking at or waiting for ISASA to guide us on this. It might have to be 1.5 meters, but whatever the requirement, we will make sure that we fulfill that requirement. Protective screens will be placed between desks in smaller classes. We were also looking, or we currently are investigating, and will probably have a staggered start and end of the school day as well. That not everybody are at the same time at all the exits, and that will also then undo the social distancing that we would like to do. Also, cancellation of assembly, sports, cultural events, and other events that create crowded conditions will not take place as per our stages that I've explained right at the beginning. Physical education and school of the art lessons will support spatial distancing, and static classrooms and allocated desks is something that we are looking at. And the timetable in the high school will look different than the way it looked like until the 17th of March. And Mr. Groma, Mr. Virtue, and myself are currently in discussion about how we're going to do it. We threw a couple of ideas around already yesterday. And again, we will communicate that by the start of beginning of when term starts. Teachers will move between classrooms while pupils remain in single classrooms. This is much easier to do in the primary school, in the high school, because the grade 10, 11, and 12s go into different subject choices. It will be a little more difficult just to keep everybody in one room, and that's why I think we've come up with a very good idea how to make sure that we never have groups that will walk past each other when they change classes, or that we will contravene on the social distancing that we're trying to maintain at school. So once again, parents, you can be rest assured we will make sure that the kids are not moving in crowds, or that they have to go and stand outside classrooms and or everybody's walking past each other. We are looking at ways to alleviate it, and I think we have got a wonderful plan already in place. It just need to be one or two things that we still need to tweak. From a quarantine period, 14-day quarantine from St. Patrick's CBC will apply when pupils have traveled abroad or to high-risk areas, or come into contact with persons who have traveled abroad or to high-risk areas, or pupils who have come into contact with infected persons. So I need to make it very clear that if you as a parent, if your borders are open and you've traveled and you come back from a high-risk area and we still have the virus crisis in South Africa, and you had contact with your child, you will have to be quarantined. And your child will also have to be quarantined. But that's why we continue with online learning, so that your child will not lose out. We also know that certain provinces are also high-risk area. So if you travel, you came back from that high-risk area and you had contact with your child, they will have to be quarantined for 14 days. But again, nobody will lose out on curriculum, because we have the online learning that's continuing. In effect, this will stay in effect until St. Patrick's CBC declares stage 8. So the question I'm getting is, what am I paying for? You are paying for the following. You are following the Independent Examinations Board curriculum. You've also been paying for the month of April, and will continue for May as well, where we as a school will continue doing online learning. This means that nobody is losing out on curriculum time. We, in actual fact, are doing very well with our curriculum. And we will, at this pace, ensure that we finish our curriculum by the end of the year. So no parent will have to be concerned, or if you're concerned, you don't have to be concerned anymore about lost curriculum time. We have made up good time, and we'll continue making up the time as we go ahead as well. Also, these online lessons are compiled by my teachers, who are the specialists. And I think you will agree with me, they have done a phenomenal job in the lessons that they have compiled. You must remember as well that 5 weeks ago, we did teaching totally different from what we're doing now. And it's phenomenal to see what they managed to put together from learning technology, learning new ways to do, and what they've done and what they've put together. And we are going to look in your online survey at your results a little bit later. And it's clear that you agree with me as well. And I must really commend my staff. I must commend my academic management team as well. They've done a phenomenal job. And you'll see also in May, because we're learning and we've learned what worked in day one and what didn't work. And also I can see how they're getting more excited about the product that they're putting out. But I think you all agree that it's an excellent quality product that they are putting out. Also, you have the support by the teachers. So a reminder that teachers are available during the lesson time. And also you have, you can access the teachers either by Edmodo asking questions. Quite a few of my staff have created WhatsApp groups that they can ask questions on. And I know that staff are also available by email as well. Then also just a reminder that our pupil support team is also available. So Dr. Marlene Swickert is still available. She's also just a phone call away, just a WhatsApp away, just an email away. If you want to make contact with her, if you are struggling with what's happening in South Africa with this virus, the impact it might have on your business, the impact it might have you as a family, if you need to talk to somebody, that's the pupil support team. They are there, and I can guarantee you, as the head, I don't hear about those conversations. I will only hear if there's domestic violence taking place at home or if your child is not looked after. Then I will hear about it, because then I need, as the head, need to act. But otherwise, those are confidential conversations, so please have it with her. Also, parents currently facilitate the continued development of their children, and you're not teaching them. If we had to say that you're teaching them, it means that you have to find the curriculum, you have to find the right resources, you have to find stuff to give to them. Here you know that they are continuing the curriculum. So where we ended on the 17th of March, when the president asked us to lock our schools for lockdown period, the teachers continued with the place where they ended off, they continued. And all we're asking you as parents is just to facilitate. In the high school, it's already much easier. They should already have, the kids should already have the discipline to sit at home and to work. And all we're asking you is to make sure that your kids are sitting at their desk and they are working, that they're doing what they're supposed to do. You are facilitating the process for us. But the teachers are available to support, the pupil support is there, and you know that they are following the right curriculum and they follow a quality curriculum and they have quality lessons that they are following on a daily basis. We've also decided not to go for generic curriculum because we want the kids to still feel it's their teacher standing in front of them, although he or she is not standing in front of them. So I've listened to some of the lessons when I can hear the voice of the teacher. You can actually hear, you can see their face, you can see where they smile when they say something, you can hear where they giggle in the lesson, you can hear the banter, even if it's recorded, you can still hear the banter some of the classes because they know who they're teaching. So that absolute personal touch is still in the lessons as well, which would have not been if it was just a generic curriculum that they followed. Also, what you're paying for, and I think you realized already, and I'm mentioning amounts to those parents that feel, what am I paying for? I think I've mentioned from the product point of view what you're paying for. But besides that as well, some parents might say, but Jacques, we were not at school the whole time. You had a little bit of savings on printing and etc. You're dead right. But unfortunately, we will now take all that money and we'll have to take out more as well, because our sanitizing and cleaning costs will triple due to the increased cleaning materials and number of cleaners that we also have to appoint to ensure effective cleanliness at all times. Also, the question, and if you, before I go to the next point, you also would have heard that I said we had to buy thermometers. That was 8,000 Rand. The sanitizing tunnels that we're going to rent on a monthly basis is going to cost us close to 20,000 Rand. And then I don't even talk about the materials that it's going to, the liquid, the cleaning liquid is going to use, that's going to run those tunnels. That's the current quotes that we have on the desk. We are, of course, looking for other suppliers and see if we can get away cheaper. So from a cost point of view, it's then also my cleaning staff needs to get now disposable overalls to make sure that we protect them. Also, all my cleaning staff and teachers, all of them will also, all staff members rather, will get a mask and they will also get a plastic mask. If you go to Woolworths, Pick and Pay, Checkers, you will notice all those staff have those plastic screens as well. One of my staff members said to me, "Oh, so we're going to wear a windscreen." Yes, they're going to wear a windscreen as well to protect them, and to also, it's going to be uncomfortable in teaching with this cloth mask on them the whole time. So that's also to protect them, that if they have to, just to pronounce a word better, if they remove it, they at least have the screen and the kids in front of them as well are then still protected. So that's also quite a costly affair for us as well. Then also the question about why should I pay for certain months? You must remember that we as a school have a year budget. So we've calculated on our budget on the numbers of number of pupils that were here at school, and we've calculated our budget on that. So also school fees are actually payable in advance for the year. But we also know that parents don't have 30, 40, 50, 60,000 Rand in January to pay for the whole year. And that is why we as a school say it's fine, you can pay monthly your school fees. Because we're trying to take every parent into account that just don't have that kind of money to put it down in January. Also a reminder that although we're putting back a huge amount of costs, and we had a finance meeting this afternoon where we, myself and the financial manager, have resubmitted proposed saving plans going forward. Our overheads are still the same, like salaries, building maintenance, overheads. We had quite a lot of storm damage. Although the insurance is paying, there's certain costs that we also need to absorb. So all those kind of things still need to be paid for, regardless if we are at school or not. Also, we have applied for COVID-19 relief. We have applied to 3 funds. But I need to remind you as parents that we are an independent school, which make it tricky to qualify for those funds, but we have applied for it. We've also applied for the UIF relief that we as businesses are allowed to apply for. And we have done that. We're still waiting to hear if we are successful. But I need to remind parents as well that although we might get that money back, I can't just give it back to you as parents directly and say, all right, we got this money back and we're saving it. We don't know what the effect of this virus or epidemic is going to be in the school, only probably until November, December. It will be irresponsible of us to say to you as parents, it's fine, we got so much money back and we're just going to give it to you. We might just need to have that money in place to ensure that we get to the end of the year to sustain the school, just to manage to survive the year to get into 2021. So ISASA has given us advice here, and which we as a school have taken it. Any savings that we might have made at the end of the year, then we can start chatting to say, is there a way that we can give this back to parents? But nobody of us can look in the crystal ball and say that's what's going to happen. I will make false promises tonight if I say to you as parents, we're going to get money back and we're going to share it with you. We're going to give discounts. Parents are coming with many good proposals, but we can't apply any of those things until we know by the end of the year how many pupils have we lost due to this epidemic. Did we lose any pupils, etc. And I think for those who are running your own businesses at home as well, or that's sitting at home running your own business, will understand where I am, because I don't even think you will know what's the effect of this coronavirus going to be on your business. So my appeal tonight to parents is, if you can pay your school fees, please continue paying your school fees. We did send out a couple of letters saying to those parents that do find themselves in financial difficulty due to this virus epidemic, then to make contact with us, and let's put a payment plan in place, payment arrangement, and let's see how we can help you. A lot of parents already made contact with us. They've put payment plans in place, payment arrangement in place going forward. And I would like to thank all those parents that have done that. If there's any parents listening tonight and felt too ashamed to make contact with us, please don't be ashamed. It's not your fault. But please make contact with us so that we can see how we can assist you. And I hope I've explained that tonight. You know by now I'm open, I'm clear, I tell you how things are, and I'm not going to make false promises. I'm not going to give false commitments just to make you sleep better tonight. Then I'll be lying. This is where we are. We will only know in November what's the effect on the school, and then we will know what is the phases, the plans that we can make. So school fees, credits, discounts, and all those kind of things, there's not an option to look at that currently. I want to reiterate again, we only know what will only know what's effect on the business going forward by November. Also, the question that I'm getting about, before I get that, also the bullet, I need to, part of the overheads, some parents said, but why don't you just retrench certain staff and rehire them when you need them? I think that's not the moral way to go about things. And also we need to retain them for when we reopen. Also, it's the same as I would say to you as a parent, but it's fine. We don't care about you, but tomorrow we'll care about you again. That's how my staff member will feel. And I don't think that's the right way to approach it. And the SASA also advised us not to follow that approach. The school will supply all pupils with one face mask, as I said, and we also supply all staff with face masks. The CAPEX projects, for example, Keeley Park, the AstroTurf is finished. They finished that just before lockdown. The netball courts will be finished after lockdown. And then we are looking maybe to still finish the gully, the bathrooms on that side. The swimming pool, we started with the swimming pool renovation before lockdown, and we will complete the swimming pool renovation after that. All other projects have been moved out to 2021 going forward. Again, we don't know what's effect on the school, and we don't want continued projects. We might need that money to sustain the school. So and the finance committee has agreed to that today. So all projects have been moved up besides those one or two that I've mentioned. Also, as I said, we are an independent school association member, and we do take guidance from them here as well. I hope that before I move on, I hope that I've explained it quite clearly and that you understand this is where we are and that's what's happening, and that you understand that we are open and transparent about it, and that's where we are. And I hope that all the parents that had that question, that I answered your question tonight. From a review, thank you to all the parents that submitted their online learning survey. It really gave us tremendous feedback. And you probably also noticed that some of the advice you gave us, or suggestions you gave us rather, we immediately implemented also into our lessons and lesson plans. For grade 8 and 9, the question was, my child is able to access online lessons per day. 78.6% of grade 8 said they can access on a daily basis, and in grade 9, 94.90% could access their lessons on a daily basis. My child is coping with online lessons. In grade 8, 76% said they're coping, and in grade 9, 74% said they're coping with online lessons. The lesson content, I was delighted to see these stats coming in for our subjects. You will notice for English, grade 8, 93% of our parents said they're very satisfied with the content, and in grade 9, 97%. In Afrikaans, grade 8, 96% of parents were satisfied and very satisfied, and 100% in grade 9. In Setswana, 86.78% in grade 8 were satisfied, and in grade 9, 70%. Maths, grade 8, 95.34, and in grade 9, 94.59. History, grade 8, 93.02, and in grade 9, 92.11. Geography, in grade 8, 100%, and in grade 9, 91.89. Biology, grade 8, 88.37, and grade 9, 86.84. Physical science in grade 8, 90.70, and grade 9, 94.74. EMS in grade 8, 92.86, and in grade 9, 89.47. For music in grade 8, 91.30, and in grade 9, 88.24. Drama in grade 8, 91.67, and in grade 9, 86.36. Life orientation in grade 8, 92.86, and in grade 9, 94.74. Computers in grade 8, 90.48, and in grade 9, also 90.48. Physical education in grade 8, 90.69, and grade 9, 85.71. So I was delighted to see those stats, and that's what I alluded to earlier, that I could pick up that US parents are very satisfied with our lesson and the content of it, and thank you for that feedback. Each lesson keeps my child occupied for the allotted time. I'm not going to go in detail. This is also a bit subjective because some kids will take longer to finish a lesson than other kids, but we did take note of that feedback, and we have looked at it, and we will give this through to the teachers also to have a look at. From the teacher who addresses my queries my child may have. Also, we had quite a lot of high percentages there as well. I'm also not going to go into detail there, but again, they vary between 70 and 100% of parents that felt that the kids are the staff are answering your kids' questions within a quick time. Also, my child requires parental assistance, and you will notice that it is actually quite low. Certain subjects were a little bit more than others, but overall, it's a low percentage for GET pupils that needed assistance at home. And then I was delighted to see that all parents that completed the survey are 100% proud members in Patrick CBC. It was heartwarming to see, and a huge thank you for that. From FET phase, my child is able to access online lessons each day. Grade 10, 11, and 12 were 95%, 90%, and 87.50%. Before I continue, there's just one typing error that I've picked up. And when you put in so many stats, drama in grade 8 was not 5%. It was actually 85%. Mr. Ferreira, also listening to this thing tonight, he might have just also had whole palpitations there. It was the 85% percentage. So I apologize for that typing error. Go back to grade 10, 11, 12. My child's able to access online lessons each day. Grade 10, 95%, grade 11, 90%, and grade 12, 87.50%. My child is coping with online lessons. Grade 10, 85%, grade 11, 90%, and grade 12, 100%. English, for grade 10, 100, grade 11, 95, and grade 12, 100%. These are the satisfied and very satisfied with lesson content. Afrikaans, 88.89, grade 11, 86.67, and grade 12, 100%. Setswana, 83.33%, grade 11, 80%, and grade 12, 100%. Math, 95.24%, grade 11, 82.35%, and grade 12, 100%. Math Lit, 100% through across the bank. History, 75% in grade 10, 50% in grade 11, and 83.33% in grade 12. Geography, 8.89% in grade 10, 100% in grade 11, and 100% in grade 12. Biology, 85.71% in grade 10, grade 11, 100%, and grade 12, also 100%. Physical sciences, 92.86% in grade 10, grade 11, 78.57%, and grade 12, 100%. One can see that I've actually been doing a lot of stats and capturing a lot of stats. That geography in grade 10 was 88.89% and not 8.89%. That was an 88% satisfaction rate. Business studies, 100%, grade 11, 62.5%, and grade 12, 100%. Music, across the board, 100% satisfaction rate. Drama, 100% rate. Nobody in grade 12 rated it. That's why there's a dash there. CAT, 100% in grade 10, 42% in grade 11, and 25% in grade 12. 100% in IT across the board. 100% for ALO in grade 10 and 11, and 87.5% in grade 12. And physical education at 88.24% in grade 10, 76.47% in grade 11, and 66.67% in grade 12. So again, I was ecstatic to see those stats, and a huge thank you from all of you as parents that have filled in your survey and has given us this. I can also tell you the staff listening to this tonight, it's heartwarming for them to see this as well. Each lesson keeps my child occupied for a lot of time, and again, this is subjective. That will depend on your child and how they can finish things in a lot of time. Although we did get a question, can we please look at the work allotted during an hour? We had questions coming like that through. It was also in a survey, and I did ask Mr. Virtue and Mr. Chroma just to check the lesson plans and to also check the work content or what is needed. And you will notice, I think also as we're going along, the teachers also got smarter of how much work should they be able to do within an hour. But that was addressed. Certain specific subjects were mentioned, and we did speak to the staff, Mr. Kroma and Mr. Virtue did, and we did address it as well. Then the teacher addresses my queries, and again, here we had between 70 and 100% return rate as well, which was very tough to see. Then my child requires parental assistance during the online lessons. Certain subjects required more than others, but again, it was quite a low percentage that needed parental assistance. So one or two subjects needed more than others, but overall not. And we've given that through to the staff just to have a look. Then the suggestions and comments we got, you also notice from your suggestions, from your comments, more videos came from the teachers. There are more instructional videos and tutorials. There are more voiceovers and PowerPoints. And also the question about why not more WhatsApp videos, but YouTube videos. You are quite limited on the amount of time that you can use to record a WhatsApp video. So we rather decided to use YouTube videos because they can record a longer lesson on that platform. And that's why we decided on the YouTube link. Also, why not live lessons? I am going to allude to data a little bit later, but there's many reasons why not for live lessons. Number one, if you have a connection problem that morning, then your child would have missed out on that lesson. So, and then they become quite worried that they are missing it. So that's number one. Also, live lessons do eat much more data than our pre-recorded lessons like we do currently on Edmodo. And also live lessons, if a child missed that lesson for whatever reason, then they've missed it. Even if you upload it, it's not the same afterwards. So that's why we decided against live lessons. The lessons with Edmodo remains available in Edmodo, enabling pupils to review content at a later stage, should they not understand clearly. Also with live lessons is that we did, in our survey that we've done, we indicated that some of the kids do not have a laptop or data in the morning because you are at work, because you might be an essential worker, your laptop and your internet dongle is at work, and you only bring that at night, so your child can only work then at night. And if they knew that the live lessons took place and they're missing out, that will also make them more concerned. So that's another reason why we decided not to use live lessons. So now those lessons are available. And also, anybody who wants to go and revise last week's work or remember that the teacher explained a concept and I want to go back to the concept, all those lessons are available on Edmodo. So it's almost like a library that's being built up. And I think that is one thing that's amazing from his online lessons is these libraries that's now available. You normally, if you wanted the teacher to explain the concept again, you had to make a time with him or her in the afternoon and ask them to repeat the concept. Now the concept is online, it's on Edmodo, you can access it at any time or at any stage that suits you. Also, we've decided on the Edmodo platform because it's a platform that's been designed to record lessons and that the lessons can be there, a library, as I said, it's easy accessible for the pupils. And it's also, it remains there. WhatsApp messages, if we're going to start doing these lessons on WhatsApp or emails, it's very easy to delete and to lose them. And that's another reason why we decided on Edmodo, which is a well-known platform that's been used by many, many teachers over the years. Then also, all lesson content is uploaded onto the folder of the Edmodo on the folder tab on Edmodo by 4 o'clock on the day before the actual lesson. Friday's lessons are uploaded by 4 o'clock on the Thursday, for example. So tomorrow's lessons were uploaded at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So those lessons are already there. Teachers are available to assist during the timetabled lesson, and the teachers are available until 5 every day to answer questions. So please send them the questions and they will assist. They might sometimes just be busy with another lesson. They can't answer. If you ask them now a question outside the lesson time, they might be busy with other lessons. They might be preparing already the next lesson for next week. So that's why they might not answer you immediately, but you will get an answer during that day. And as you could see the stats, your majority who said you, in any case, get your answer quite quickly from the staff, which I'm delighted to see. From a data point of view, the question is, can the school help with data? I've made a sum. If I give everybody 99 Rand, we've got a 1,115 pupils. If I give everybody 99 Rand data, which you should buy 1 gig with, if I do that, some packages you can even buy 3 gig. But if I do that, that will cost the school 108,600 Rand. We just don't have that money. ISASA is also looking at negotiating, or are currently negotiating with our big data providers to see if they can give independent schools a better rate. And 1 or 2 of our parents also approached us to say they might give us better rates as well. And we are compiling that list, and we will send it through to you as soon as possible. And that is why we've decided to do pre-recorded lessons like we've done on Edmodo, and trying to save you as much data as possible. We do see that some parents say, is there other ways to maybe reduce the videos? Some parents say to us, please do more videos. Some parents say to us, please do less videos. It is a bit of a catch-22, but we are looking at your comments. But data, unfortunately, the school just doesn't have the means to provide data to everybody. And also, our service provider, we are using fiber, and it's going to be very difficult to even tap into our service provider as well. So that is what we can do on data currently. The question about reducing the workload, I did touch on it a little bit later when I spoke about lesson plans. And I think already you can see the staff are working smarter, because they are also had to see what worked, what didn't work, got feedback from the pupils and US parents directly on the groups. And I think that they've already taken those things into account. And they're continuously looking at what is the workload that they're giving the kids at home. Also, please give the staff feedback via private message. On Edmodo, there's a private message tab that you can send them a message. As I said, the majority of them did make their cell phone numbers available via WhatsApp or on WhatsApp groups. Give them feedback. I know that's the first thing they would like, is to get that direct feedback from you as well. Parents must please also join Edmodo. There's a parent portal that you can join as a parent in Edmodo, and that will also give you an idea of what's being uploaded. Please do not create another student account that you would like to join. We've cleared out all those double accounts, because we also know that there are schools that's not having online lessons, and they are trying to get into our platforms to be able to tap into it or hack into it. And that's why we made it very clear. Even if your child lost their login details and they registered 3 times, all 3 accounts were deleted, and they were asked to re-register again. Also, may I ask that you please make sure your kids are registered for every subject as well, please. Printing is not necessary. And if a teacher might say in a lesson plan, please print this, you do not have to print it, because we know that all of you don't have. That means you can answer that question in a workbook on a folio page. Just make sure keep it and bring it to school. But again, the pupil must ask the staff member for clarity. Books and stationery that were left at school, I cannot give you permission to come and fetch it. You can only come and fetch it once we are allowed to open the school doors. And at that stage, you can make contact with Mr. Virtue, Mr. Chroma, if you want to come and fetch a certain book or some of your stationery that you left either in your locker or in the classroom. Technical support, Mr. Ward, who's looking after the IT side of the high school, the technical support side, he is available. He is just an email away, and you can assist him. He will assist you anytime if you have a problem with your device or with Edmodo, he will assist you. Also, the question about personal contact numbers of teachers, just a reminder that I don't pay for their accounts, and therefore I cannot ask them to make their numbers available. Although quite a lot of them have made those, have made their number available. But also know that some students and parents do contact them 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, which I'm 24/7 available. I don't think do that to my teaching staff, please. As I said, they are available between 8 and 5 to answer questions, and majority of them, in any case, will answer your questions probably on Edmodo or on the platforms as they come in. But I'm not in a position to just say to all staff, make your numbers available. As a school, our policy is they have a choice if they want to make the number available. But that's why they've got a St. Patrick CBC email address, and which you can contact them. They're all available on Edmodo for questions. And as I said, numerous of the high school staff, in actual fact, did create WhatsApp platforms, which you can also get hold of there. Then also a big request from our side as parents and pupils, please read instructions. I know that one of my grade 8 staff members have actually done a very nice lesson on how to read instructions, and my grade 8 son came to show me. Please read instructions. Please don't do what I do. I know that's a normal thing. We just scan and think we know what's in the document. Please don't do that. Please read the instructions carefully. Read every letter that comes home carefully, because there's a lot of information in there. And if you scan it, you are going to miss it. The question about attendance register, as I said, the lessons are on Edmodo. And we do know that some kids are not online during the day, but they're online at night. But the staff do ask you to do attendance registers right at the beginning. So even a child that might have work on the work because they're uploading it the day before at 4 o'clock, we know that some people can't wait and they're actually continuing with the next day's lesson that same night. But now it seems like that they are not attending the lesson the next morning. My answer is to still just say, I'm here, ma'am or sir. That we know that you are there and that we know that you are following the online learning. But may I also ask parents that you check your kids that they are following the timetable and that they are doing the work. Those who's working at advanced, well done. Very proud of you, keep it up. But we also know that other kids are sticking to the timetable. Excellent for you, proud of you, well done. But I am concerned of the one or two that is not doing what's supposed to do. And parents, please get them to do what they're supposed to do. And as I said, to those kids that's working in advance, please ask them to still just check in the next morning to say, I'm here, ma'am, or sir, I have done my work, or I'm doing my work, that they know that they are there. The teachers are missing that contact with the pupils, that I can guarantee. And that's just a relief for them when they see somebody sticking to say, I'm here, ma'am or sir, I've part of the lesson, I'm following what you're telling me to do. There's nothing more heartwarming for an educator than to see that. We value your feedback and suggestions. Please don't stop giving them to us. I really would like you to encourage you to please give us more feedback and suggestions if you have any suggestions. Just under general, please join the official class WhatsApp groups if you haven't. So every grade, every class have their own WhatsApp group. Jo Marie sends all information, so every communication that comes from me or the school are duplicated. It goes in the WhatsApp group, but it also goes, we also email it out. But please, it's just so much easier if you're on the WhatsApp group, any information that we send out is just so much easier for you to get. But if you do not have WhatsApp, please just then make sure that you do get our emails. If you get nothing from us, then please make contact with me as soon as possible, that we can ensure that we can check your details and ensure that you're getting the information. A lot of teachers do ask pupils to do tasks or projects at home. All of those projects and tasks must come back to school when we reconvene. So please do not throw them away. They must keep them safe with your subject files. They must come to school when we're starting again. Also, we are going to send out a return to school on campus survey tomorrow sometime, where we're going to ask you if we open, or when we open rather, will you send your child back for face-to-face learning, or will you prefer to continue with online learning? We know, as I said earlier, that some parents, mom can stay at home, so therefore you don't have to send them to school because you don't want them, you might still be a little bit fearful that they might get sick. Also, that's fine, but just indicate that to us. We also know that quite a lot of moms and dads must return to work now, or might have to return to work when we go down to level 3. So please just indicate to us if you will send your child to school or not, whether you continue with online learning or will you come for face-to-face learning. That will also just help me with crowd control, our planning going forward to have the kids back on the 1st of June. Then the question about public holidays. Why did we teach on Monday, which is a public holiday, and why are we teaching tomorrow, which is a public holiday? First of all, if it was a religious public holiday, I would have not had school on those days. But as both of them are non-religious public holidays. Also, we lost a little bit of time due to the lockdown, and we're using those 2 days to make up time. Also, we want to give you value for your money. We didn't want, again, take 2 days holiday and your kids are sitting at home with no curriculum. So those are the main reasons why we've done it. Also, if you have an objection to it, because the lessons are on Edmodo and it's available, they can then catch up on Saturday if you don't want them to work tomorrow on a public holiday. But my staff were more than willing to do it, and I really would like to thank them that they will tomorrow be available during those times to answer your questions, and that they are working on these 2 public holidays. Now that we have a tentative starting date, and I'll keep it a tentative date until it's been gazetted, we will now communicate our holidays and our term calendars going forward once those days being gazetted. We will not have a 3-week holiday in June, July. We will only probably have a week later to the end of July, and then a week maybe in October. But those are kind of things that we now as a senior management team must go and sit down and have a look at. But there's definitely no 3-week holiday in June, July. That will fall away. And the 2-week holiday in September will also only become a week. It's unrealistic to expect the staff and your kids to run from 1st of June, or whenever they return, until mid-December. That's unrealistic. Therefore, we will take 2 breaks in between, and that will be a 1 week each. And I will communicate those dates to you. Also, as you just heard, it will probably run up till mid-December with school. So please do not plan any holiday. If we are allowed to move around at that stage, please do not plan any holiday before mid-December. And I hope I've explained those 3 things quite clearly, and we will communicate those dates soon as the Minister has gazetted her dates. What if we have a positive COVID-19 case at school? I got that question as well. Then we'll probably have to close that section where the pupil or staff member were positive, and then we'll have to sanitize that area, and we'll probably have to lock it down for a couple of days before we can start. We at this stage are still waiting for advice if it's only that section where the pupil or staff member worked and who they were in contact with to close that section, or will we have to close the whole school? That I'm waiting for, and I was again in a ISASA online meeting this afternoon. We are still waiting for clear guidance there. But what will need to happen is that a certain section at least will have to close. Closing will have to happen, sanitizing will have to happen, deep cleaning will have to happen, and then see what is the lead time before we can open. But again, that we'll communicate as soon as we have more information on that. Top 10 ranking and reports link in actual fact together. Reports, we will now aim, if we can start in June, we will then aim to finish those 3 days that we've missed from the term calendar, and then we can then produce a first term report. From second, third, and fourth term reports, those kind of things we will communicate with you as soon as we have finalized our term calendars as well. There is a conversation taking place, should we now, because now we know we're not starting next week, should we not rather than close term 1, produce a report on the marks that we have, and then hand that out? That will, now that we know we're only starting in the 1st of June and we're not starting on the 4th of May or even on the 11th of May, that's another conversation that we will have. And I'll give you clarity on that in the next couple of days. I did get a question about reports. I hope I explained that. We were hoping that we'll start a little bit earlier to finish those 3 days, but the discussion point now, there's 2 options. Should we wait for June, finish those 3 days from the midterm exam that they missed, and then compile the first term report, or should we just bank the first term marks that we have and then issue a report on that? And that I'll give you clarity sooner than later, because now we know when we will probably start. Also with assessments, parents, please don't worry about assessments. We have, our aim now is to continue with the curriculum and not to lose curriculum time. And to make up assessments is much easier than to make up curriculum time. You cannot force feed information into pupils' heads. That is unfair. So that's why we are running the curriculum, and we are continuing with the curriculum until we can have face-to-face learning with the online learning. And so in that sense, so May will continue as we did on online learning now, and we will catch up assessments when we are back. We will also explain exams and assessments and projects. All those kind of dates will now be communicated to you at some stage now that we have a clearer indication from the minister when we will start. 2021 re-registrations the normal process, we got questions about that as well. The normal re-registration process will take place in August or September, like we normally do, to ask you to complete your re-registration form and submit it back to the school. So that will also run in August or September, like we normally do. Then to all my boarder parents, I was in an online boarding house meeting this afternoon with ISASA. We are waiting there's two options on the table. Number one, we are trying to find out from the Minister of Education when will we be able to open boarding houses, and number two, will we be able to bring you through the borders if we can give a letter that you are part of our school, or will we have to wait until our border posts open? Again, we are waiting clarity from government to give us clarity on that. But in the meantime, you will continue online learning, as you heard. So even when you are back at school, you will not lose out on curriculum time, because we will continue with online learning. We do hope that the government in the next 2 weeks will give us clearer indication on boarding houses and the way forward with boarding houses and people that need to return. And also, will you have to qualify for a quarantine period coming through the border post? At this stage, it does look like that every border that comes through will have to be quarantined. And we're also waiting for information on that point as well. From all my grade 12 parents, I know you are probably sitting on the edge of your chair listening to every word that I'm saying. Now that we have clarity and we're waiting for those dates to be gazetted, but it looks like we're going to start on the 1st of June. Of course, we will start first having the grade 12 pupils back. And that's any case when the Minister of Education said, and that's what I said earlier tonight. She says the government will only bring back grade 12 and grade 7. We are hoping that we can bring more grades back, and we don't have to wait for a week every time to bring grades back. We hope we can, as I said, we're going to have a staggered start, but on a daily basis, not on a weekly basis. But grade 12 pupils will be the given ones. They will be back first. Also, I will call a specific grade 12 parent meeting for Monday night. I was waiting for the minister to give us indication. She now did. Now, myself and my academic management team in the high school can now put a plan together for the grade 12s. We will also now get advice from ISASA and from the IAB how to go forward as well. I know you're specifically concerned about the June exam and September prelims and etc. And what about portfolios? Again, the only thing that you have to be concerned about is the curriculum. We've continued the curriculum. Your kids didn't lose out. Again, assessments will make up, and don't worry, they're not going to come back and we're going to bombard them with assessments. That is not going to take place. We will come with a concrete plan, a plan that we take you as the parent, your child, and the staff into account. And it looks like that the exams in grade 12 is going to be to the very end of the year, and they might even right up until the mid of December. And again, we're waiting for clarity on that as well. But on Monday night, this coming Monday night, the 4th of May at 7 o'clock, I will have a specific grade 12 parent evening. I would also invite you to have your kids also there to listen to us, and we'll already start giving you a clearer idea of what you can expect as a grade 12 parent going forward. And then my last 2 points, we do know that quite a lot of our family members, CBC family members, are struggling with food and don't have food currently. We decided to do a food drive. If you are willing to get involved, please contact me afterwards. And what we are looking at is to what Checkers is currently offering, you can buy a voucher and you send that voucher then to that person's cell phone number, and they go to the shop and they then use the voucher there. If they don't use the full voucher, they get it back in vouchers, not money. So it's a very safe way to support somebody. And then in the same sentence, there are families that struggling with electronic devices. So any parent that have a laptop at home that you would like to just lend out for a couple of months, or generally want to donate, or you have a smartphone at home that we all upgrade our phones, majority of us, and you might have that phone at home that you would like that we can borrow from you, or you would like to donate, please make contact with us. I know you'll be helping so many family members with that. And then you'll see this little guy jumping from the one cliff to another. And I think that is what we as a CBC family are achieving together. Challenges make life interesting. Overcoming them makes life meaningful. And I really think we as a CBC family, all together, are bridging this gap, and we are landing safely on the other side. And it's because it's a tremendous team effort that is happening. You as parents, pupils, staff, my academic management team, my senior management team, the board of governors, everybody that is putting together and ensuring one thing, that no child is losing out on the curriculum, that we are not disadvantaging anybody, and in actual fact, that we are sitting in a much better position than the majority of the schools in South Africa. I can also add that there are independent schools that are not at the same position that we are. They are far behind. And we are here because of the forward thinking of everybody. And I need to thank everybody for their input, their suggestions, their feedback. And that links to my next slide. That's my email address. That's my personal cell phone number. If you have feedback for me on tonight, please give it to me. If you have feedback on anything that I've mentioned tonight and want more information, please ask me, send me an email, send me a WhatsApp, or phone me, and I'll gladly, we can gladly have a conversation going forward. But please make contact with me, and I would love to know if you found tonight helpful. I hope that I've covered everybody's questions. If I skipped somebody's question tonight, I do apologize, and it wasn't intentionally done. But I do think I've covered all the questions that we have received. And the slogan that we adopted for this period, we are in this together and we'll get through this together, is, I think, so relevant. We as St. Patrick CBC are in this family, are in this together, and we'll get through this together. And again, I would like to thank you for your support, your feedback, your input, and for your positive feedback. I tell you, you are feeding my staff's souls when you send them that positive message, when you give them that feedback on that lesson that your kids enjoyed or that you enjoyed. I know that you all are being schooled again, and you probably realize the curriculums that we had when we matriculated. I matriculated in 1996, and the curriculum that I had in 1996 and what we have in 2020 is already different, way different, and the way we're doing things and the way we're assessing. And I think it was quite an eye-opener for you as parents as well. And it's so interesting to read how many of you say, I'm enjoying this so much, and I'm reliving math, and I'm reliving history, and I'm reliving geography, and etc. and etc. It's heartwarming to see that comments, and heartwarming to, in actual fact, that you can see what your kids have to follow in the curriculum on a daily basis. And when they get home and say they're tired, that you understand now why they're tired, because it is challenging. An IEB curriculum is challenging, but it opens the world for them when they have that IEB matric certificate. So huge thank you to all of you. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I wish you all a wonderful evening, and can't wait to have the CBC family together again. And as I've been saying the last 3 nights, if in November or December we as a country are allowed to move around and we are allowed to come back in crowds, we are going to have a party on Backfield. Just like we had that picnic in February, I can't wait to have the family back together on Backfield. We're all together and reminisce on these days where we had to do online learning. But I can tell you this, that I think we all got smarter, and in future we'll work smarter with technology and also the way that we'll approach education going forward. And I think even you that run your own businesses will probably also do things a little bit differently and but also smarter going forward. So thank you for being a parent at St. Patrick's CBC. Thank you for your continued support, and I wish you all a good and blessed evening. Thank you.